Claire's heart was still thumping excitedly when she exited Wilson Group's office. Grandma would officially announce her new position tomorrow. Finally, she could hold her head up high. She turned to Charlie and said gleefully, "Charlie, thank you. If it's not for your encouragement, I wouldn't have dared to step up and take the challenge." Charlie replied with a smile, "Dear, you deserve this." He turned his head away, then turned back to her and said, "Oh yes, it's such a great and happy event. Let's celebrate, shall we?" Claire nodded. "How do you want to do it? Our 3rd anniversary is around the corner. Let's celebrate it together. I'll prepare everything, you just have to sit back and relax." Claire gaped in surprise. "Are you going to surprise me?" "Yes." Charlie nodded and laughed. "I'm giving you a surprise." Claire felt a dash of warmth surging her heart. "Okay, I won't ask you for any details then. You don't have to, just wait." Charlie had several plans lining up for the preparation of a special and exclusive wedding anniversary. Generally, compensation was the main objective. After all, he was very poor previously and he didn't have the money to buy presents for his wife. In fact, he couldn't even afford a formal wedding for her. Now that he was loaded, he wanted to compensate her earnestly. After splitting with his wife, Charlie went to a jewelry store called Emerald Court in the center of Orus Hill alone. Emerald Court was the most popular jewelry store in town. They had gold, platinum, diamonds, jade, and all sorts of gemstones and accessories that one could dream of. You name it, they've got it. Charlie wanted to buy a gift for his wife before heading to the best hotel in town to book a venue for their belated wedding. When he walked into the stores, the sales personnel didn't bother to entertain him when they saw him wearing 4-striped, aka counterfeit, Adidas sneakers. Regardless, Charlie looked around by himself for a long while until he saw a jade necklace locked in the glass cabinet. The necklace was made of the most exclusive icy jadeite. It was very elegant and exquisite, a perfect match for Claire's aura. He peeked at the price tag, $13 million, which was a piece of cake for him. He ushered for one of the sales personnel and said, "Hi, please take this necklace out, I'd like to have a look." The person glanced at him indifferently and muttered, "I don't have the key, it's with our manager." Then, he spoke through the intercom and said, "Miss Wolf, there's a guy here who wants to see our most prized possession." Very soon, a very enchanting woman with a very thick makeup sprinted to the storefront enthusiastically. Her name was Jane Wolfe and she was the sales manager at the store. "Which prestigious guest wants to see our prized collection?" The personnel pointed to Charlie and said, "This man over here." "Huh?" Jane shifted her gaze at Charlie and expressed a disgusted look as if she had just eaten a fly. How could this deadbeat loser afford the most prized treasure of the shop? She turned to the male sales personnel and said, "Hey, Gil, you're kidding me, right?" "No, it's true, this gentleman wants to see the necklace." Jane chided rudely, "Are you telling me that this loser can afford the necklace? Are you blind? If you're blind, tell me so I can fire you right this instant and stop being annoyed." Jane thought that she could very accurately read people after years of working experience. She could see at a glance about what kind of person the buyer was and predict their purchasing power. So, from her observation, she could tell that Charlie was nothing but a poor loser. He couldn't even afford a $1,300 necklace, let alone the $13 million necklace. He was just a waste of her time. The male sales personnel kept quiet after the scolding, but Charlie frowned and asked her, "You opened the door to do business, right?" "I want to see the necklace, what's the problem?" Jane sneered in disdain. "Yes, we did open our door for business, but we don't do business with the mentally retarded. You can't afford it, just get out of our store." The frown on Charlie's forehead grew deeper. "How do you know I can't afford it? Which pair of eyes did you use to judge me?" "Ha ha." Jane mocked contemptuously, "This jade necklace is worth tens of millions of dollars. Tell me, how are you going to pay for it? I know exactly what you want to do. You want me to take it out so you can snap a picture of it and post it on Instagram to show off, am I right?" Jane crossed her arms in front of her chest and stood with her head held high, looking snobbish and pompous. There were a few shoppers in the store. When they heard the price of the jade necklace, they gaped in awe and pointed at Charlie as they whispered, "That guy is so shameless. Why does he want to look at it when he can't afford it?" "You're right. Didn't he look into the mirror before he left his house? How can he deserve such a beautiful and precious gem with that low-quality outfit? Let me tell you, there are so many of them nowadays." Charlie looked askance at Jane, who looked back at him with the scornful smile on her face. He decided to teach the ignorant B*tch a lesson. He retrieved his phone and dialed Stephen's number. "I want you to prepare $13 million in cash and come to Emerald Court in 10 minutes. "Okay, young master, right on it." The corner of Jane's lips twitched as she teased, "Wow, you're so indulgent in your acting, I'm impressed. $13 million in cash? Haha, don't make me laugh. I haven't seen so much cash in my life. I do hope you'd let me open my eyes today. Don't you know that you'd need to make a prior appointment with the bank for any cash withdrawals above $1 million? Ha ha ha, you're so funny." Charlie nodded inexpressively and said, "Since you haven't seen it before, you'll see it soon." The shrill voices started to resonate across the store. "It's okay to be poor, just don't be so puffed up. Haha, this guy looks nothing like a rich guy at all. 13 million? I'll call him Dad if he can get $13,000. Well, I'm curious to see what 13 million in cash looks like." Listening to the crowd who was taking her side, Jane smiled satisfyingly. She couldn't wait to see how this poor loser would react when the cash wasn't here. A few minutes later, several Rolls-Royce suddenly parked in front of Emerald Court's entrance. Immediately after that, 8 bodyguards in black suits came down from the 2 cars at the front. They were carrying a black leather suitcase, their muscles twitching, their expression solemn, a cold and murderous aura radiating from their body. It felt as if the temperature had suddenly dropped below zero. Everyone in Emerald Court was stunned in extreme shock upon the scene. Who was this guy? What's with the charismatic appearance? Jane was taken aback by such an extravagant appearance, wondering to herself if these guys were here for him. She dismissed that thought very quickly. Impossible. The poor loser wouldn't know anyone so powerful. Stephen got out from the 3rd car and strode into Emerald Court. Jane quickly got up to greet him, but he ignored her completely and went straight to Charlie. "Young master, I'm here with the money." Then, Stephen gestured with his hand. The Studley bodyguards walked into the store, placed the suitcase on the floor, and opened it. It was full of cash to the brink. Everyone gaped in extreme shock. D*mn it. The loser, oh no. What the guy had said was actually true. Oh D*mn. Who was he? Many people took their phones out, trying to take a picture or record a video. They wouldn't want to miss such a shocking scene. Stephen's bodyguards immediately cleared the scene and pushed them out of the store. All they managed to snap was the back of Charlie's head. Charlie pointed to the cash and said to Jane, "You said that you've never seen so much cash before, didn't you? Take a good look at it now." In a shocked daze, Jane mumbled with vigorous nodding, "Yes, I see it now." Charlie said to Stephen, "I want to see the manager of this store." Stephen nodded, took out his phone, searched through his contact list, and made the call. As soon as his call was answered, he shouted, "B****, I am Stephen Thompson. I'm now at Emerald Court. I'll give you 1 minute to get here now, or I'll have someone burn down the store and then break your legs." Blood drained from Jane's face. Her eyes filled with horror when she looked at Stephen. Who was this guy? Was he that powerful? Her boss was a man of substance in Orus Hill, and he was also very well connected in the organized group. Everyone treated him with great respect and honor. She couldn't believe that there were people who dared to talk to him like that. It had not even been a minute when a middle-aged obese man came running from the office behind the store. He sprinted as soon as he saw Stephen and said, "Mr. Thompson, it's such an honor to have you visit my shop. Why didn't you let me know earlier? I could have come to greet you." Stephen hurled his hand across the man's face, slapping him, and growled furiously, "You're pretty cocky, aren't you? Your staff even dared to mistreat our young master like this. Are you getting tired of breathing?" Stephen knew that the young master had undergone a miserable life in the past decade, so he was extremely agitated when a lowly staff member treated him so poorly. The chubby man was a little aggrieved when he was slapped hard on his face, but when he heard Stephen's remark, he recoiled in shock. Stephen Thompson's young master? Oh goodness, if Stephen's existence was already like a dragon in the mortal world, his young master would be the god from the sky then. His body trembled in fear. He turned his head to look at Charlie, who stood next to Stephen. The young lad looked like an ordinary being, but he was Stephen Thompson's young master. The chubby man crawled to his knees and said, young master, I'm really sorry. Please accept my apology." He then turned his furious gaze at his staff and shouted, "Which ignorant B***** offended the young master? Show yourself." All the sales personnel shifted their glances at Jane instantly. Jane wanted to retreat, but the chubby man jumped at her, grabbed her collar, and slapped her face while cursing, "You ignorant B****! How dare you offend our young master? You're blind and stupid." Jane crouched on the floor after the slap and wailed, "Boss, I'm sorry. Yes, I'm blind and stupid. Please forgive me, please." "Forgive you?" The chubby man grabbed her hair, pulled her face up, and punched her in the face with his giant fist. With one punch after another, blood started oozing from her face. D***mn at you B***tch. You want to drag me to hell, don't you? Before you kill me, I'll kill you first. Several teeth were knocked out of Jane's mouth. The nose bridge that she had spent a fortune on plastic surgery for was broken, and her face was literally covered in blood. She struggled and managed to break free from the chubby man. She crawled towards Charlie, grabbed his leg, and cried, "Young master, I'm so sorry. I won't do it again. I won't judge people as I had done ever again. Please forgive me." Charlie glared at her coldly and uttered, "Serves you right." The chubby man gaped in shock when he saw her grabbing Charlie's leg. He quickly ran over and stomped on her head, and shouted, "How dare you touch the young master's leg? I'll kill you." With the stomp, Jane fainted and became unconscious. The man called for the guards at the door. "Throw this B***tch into the garbage dump in the back alley." "Okay, boss." The guards immediately picked the bloody Jane up and took her out of the store. Charlie looked blankly at the chubby man and said, "My wife likes this jade necklace. Wrap it up." The chubby man nodded vigorously and said, "Okay, I'll do it right away." Charlie retrieved the black card and said, "Swipe this card." Then, he turned to Stephen and said, "You can take back the cash now." The chubby man quickly interjected, "Young master, since you like the jade necklace, just take it, it's on the house." Charlie muttered, "I don't need you to give it to me for free." The chubby man said timidly, "Young master, please accept it as a token of gratitude from me." Stephen told Charlie, "Sir, since he wants to repent for his mistake with the gift, please accept it. Otherwise, I don't think he'll be able to sleep tonight." After hesitating for a moment, Charlie nodded gently. "Okay, thank you for the generous gift." The chubby man heaved a sigh of relief when Charlie accepted the necklace. If he didn't, he was genuinely afraid that Stephen would not let him off the hook. With his influence and ability, making him disappear off the grid was as easy as flicking his fingers. Then, Stephen asked, "Sir, do you need a lift?" "No thanks." Charlie shook his hand and said, "Where is your back door? I'll go by myself." The onlookers felt as if they had entered a whole new world. Several Rolls-Royce came to deliver $13 million in cash just to buy a piece of jade. It turned out that the owner of the Emerald Court gave it to him for free. Who was the man who looked rather unremarkable and ordinary? What was his background? Many people posted the video of the incident on the internet and it quickly became the hottest topic. The netizens labeled the mysterious man as the ultra-rich man, willful boss, mysterious elite, and so on. There was even an activity called, Search for the Mysterious Rich Man, that a lot of people were actively participating in. Fortunately, when these people were shooting the video, they were pushed out of the store by the bodyguards, so Charlie's image in their videos was very vague and blurry and it couldn't be used as a reference for the manhunt.